why is Hindustani music classified under gharanas? Mind you, Carnatic music does not have gharanas. The decline of the Mughal Empire created several conditions that necessitated the formation of gharanas. Actually, the gharana concept is now an outdated concept, and let me explain to you why and how. The gharana system gained prominence, or rather came into being, particularly during the 18th and 19th centuries, coinciding with a crucial period in Indian history, the gradual decline of the Mughal Empire. This historical context was instrumental in shaping the gharana system as we know it today. While the concept of Guru Shishya Parampara, teacher-student tradition, existed from ancient times, the structured gharana system began crystallizing during the medieval period, particularly under the Mughal Empire. That's when it started. To begin with, let me tell you there are three types of gharanas: the music or vocal gharanas, the dance gharanas or the kathak gharanas, and the instrument gharanas or the tabla gharanas. Today we will of course talk only about the vocal or music gharanas. To understand the gharana system, we need to first delve into the very roots of Indian classical music. Where did Indian classical music originate from? It originated from the Vedas, the Samveda to be precise. Samveda, the book of songs, known to be a record of over 1800 hymns. After the Samveda, over the next many centuries, under various influences such as Bharata's Natya Shastra, Matanga's Brihadeshi, 5th to 7th century AD, and Sarangdev's Sangeeta Ratnakara, this music continued to evolve into intricacies of raga and tala adorned by varna and swara, etc., etc. There were two distinct forms of Indian music in this early period: classical music or Marga Sangeet, sung in Sanskrit and mainly devotional in nature, adhering to rigid structure and rules, and the other, Desi Sangeet or folk music, composed in Prakrit, the music of the locals, flexible in composition. In about 13th century AD, with the advent of the Persian invaders, Indian music under the Persian or Sufi influence, which was the music of the invaders, started to get divided more and more. The classical art form, which got pushed further and further south towards the south of India, while the northern region adapted its music to the musical influences of the invaders and developed a genre of its own. More than devotional, it became about pleasing the interest of the rulers and so became more flexible and adaptable. The pure form of Indian traditional music, which moved south, remember I just told you it moved south from the north, the pure form of Indian traditional music came to be called Carnatic music, and the more modern adaptive style of North India came to be known as Hindustani music. Get it? So what about the gharanas then? The word gharana derives from the Hindi word ghar, meaning house or home, but its significance extends far beyond mere geographical boundaries. A gharana is essentially a system of social organization that links musicians or dancers through lineage, apprenticeship, and most importantly, adherence to a particular musical style that must be passed down through at least 3 generations before it can be formally recognized as a gharana. The roots of Indian classical music trace back to the Vedic period that we already discussed, but the formal gharana system as we know it today emerged much later. The golden age of gharana development occurred during the reign of Emperor Akbar, that is 1556 to 1605, whose court musician Tansen is often considered a progenitor of this tradition. Tansen's disciples and their descendants and his children established distinct musical lineages, such as developing unique styles and repertoires that would eventually solidify into recognizable gharanas. During the height of the Mughal power, most musicians were concentrated in Delhi, enjoying imperial patronage or the patronage of the rulers, the kings and the nawabs and etc. However, as the empire began fragmenting after Aurangzeb's death in 1707, musicians faced an uncertain future. The weakening central authority, coupled with repeated invasions by Persian ruler Nadir Shah 1739 and Afghan ruler Ahmad Shah Abdali of 1748-1767, created political instability that fundamentally altered the musical landscape forever. As the Mughal court's power waned, musicians could no longer rely on imperial support. The invasions and political turmoil depleted the royal treasury, forcing artists to seek alternate sources of patronage. Musicians were compelled to move from Delhi to various princely states including Gwalior, Lucknow, Hyderabad, Patiala and Rampur. These regional courts, while smaller than the Mughal court, offered new opportunities for artistic development and patronage. The Gharana system emerged as a means by which musicians could maintain their artistic authority and legitimacy in an era of declining court patronage. By emphasizing lineage and tradition, musicians could establish their credentials independent of royal endorsement. As you can understand, in an era without audio recordings and with rudimentary musical notation, the Gharana system served as a crucial repository for preserving rich bodies of musical material and facilitating high-quality training. As musicians settled in different regions, remember, thanks to Aurangzeb's decline, they got spread across to Gwalior, Rampur, Patiala, etc. So as musicians settled in different regions, they were influenced by local cultural traditions, languages and aesthetic preferences. This led to the natural evolution of distinct stylistic approaches within the broader framework of Indian classical music or Hindustani music. Each gharana could develop its unique approach to raga interpretation, ornamentation and rhythmic patterns while staying rooted in classical principles. The gharana system operates on several fundamental principles. The first and most important is the 3-generation rule. A musical style must be passed down through at least 3 generations of teachers and students performing at a high standard before it can be considered a gharana. 2. The Guru-Shishya Parampara. Knowledge is transmitted through an intensive teacher-student relationship as students traditionally lived in their teacher's home, ensuring complete immersion in the gharana's ideology and techniques. 3. Maintenance of standards. Members of a gharana are entrusted with maintaining certain standards of musicianship in accordance with the ideals of their lineage. Each gharana is distinguished by several distinctive elements: unique rendering style, specific repertoire, emphasis on particular aspects. So whether rhythmic complexity, melodic purity or emotional expression, these take precedence. Innovative techniques, teaching methodologies. Now let's take a look at the major gharanas, their lineages and characteristics. It's interesting that if you look up these areas on the map of India, you can see that they form a cluster, a little cluster in the UP, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh regions. As you can see, these are all areas of Mughal invasion and patronage, which when this patronage stopped, the artists had no recourse except to create their own gharanas to preserve and develop their artistry and pass it on to the next generation. So one exception from this cluster of gharanas in the north of India is the Bhindi Bazar Gharana, a prominent gharana founded in the Bhindi Bazar area of Mumbai. Did you know that? Yes, around 1890, the Bhindi Bazar Gharana was established by 3 brothers, Chhaju Khan, Nazir Khan and Khadim Hussain Khan. They were from Bijnor, Uttar Pradesh. See the whole Uttar Pradesh connection again, the northern belt connection again. Sadly, the Bhindi Bazar area in Mumbai is now run down and rather infamous. But at one time, it was home to one of India's finest gharanas. So the gharanas are, the first is the Gwalior Gharana. As you can see from the name, it was founded around Gwalior. It was founded in the first half of the 19th century by Ustad Hasu Khan, Ustad Haddu Khan and Ustad Nathu Khan. The characteristics of this gharana is, it is considered the oldest and mother of all Khayal gharanas, known for its lucidity, simplicity and pure expression of ragas. मैंने भी वहीं सीखी है. The notable exponents of this gharana are Vishnu Digambar Paluskar, Pandit Omkar Nath Thakur, Malini Rajurkar, Veena Sahasrabuddhe, etc. The next is the Kirana Gharana, which developed around Kirana, a small town in the Shamli district of Uttar Pradesh. It was again founded in the late 19th century by Ustad Abdul Karim Khan and Ustad Abdul Wahid Khan. It is characterized by its emphasis on purity of ragas, intricate exploration of swara, meditative approach. The notable exponents are Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, Gangubai Hangal, Savai Gandharva, Prabha Atre. These are names very familiar even to us today. The third is the Agra Gharana, founded in the 19th century once again by Haji Sujan Khan, Ustad Gagge Khuda Bakhsh. Characterized by emphasis on powerful resonant voice, rhythmic complexity, lekari, dramatic expression. So you can see that every gharana had its own style. Notable exponents, Ustad Fayaz Khan, Latafat Hussain Khan. The fourth is the Jaipur or Atroli Gharana, again founded around Jaipur in the late 19th century, founded by Ustad Aladia Khan, characterized by complex melodic forms, intricate undulating phrases, sophisticated rhythmic patterns. Kishori Amonkar, Mallikarjun Mansur, Ashwini Bhide Deshpande, again names, legendary names we are all familiar with. Then the fifth is the Patiala Gharana from Punjab, again 19th century towards the decline of the Mughal Empire, founded by Ustad Fateh Ali Khan and Ustad Ali Bakhsh. Again characterized by greater rhythmic play, abundant use of bowls, incorporation of tappa elements. Bade Ghulam Ali Khan, Parveen Sultana, Ajoy Chakravarti, notable exponents of this gharana. Then the sixth is the Rampur or Sahaswan Gharana, founded again 19th century, founded by Inayat Hussain Khan, characterized by clarity of swara, stepwise progression in raga development, synthesis of diverse musical elements. Ustad Rashid Khan, Ghulam Mustafa Khan, exponents of this gharana. So what is the current status of these gharanas and the contemporary challenges they face? That is the biggest question we need to ask. How has the digital age impacted these gharanas? See, the gharana system faces significant challenges in the 21st century. The digital revolution has fundamentally altered how music is learned and transmitted, isn't it? In today's date and time, contemporary students have unlimited access to diverse concerts, audio recordings, and video performances from multiple gharanas, reducing the isolation that once helped preserve these very distinct traditions. Students often receive training from multiple teachers, sometimes from different gharanas, leading to a blending of styles that can blur traditional boundaries. Mind you, we're talking about the challenges the gharana system is facing. Then there's also modern travel and communication that has broken down the geographical borders that once naturally separated the gharanas, leading to increased cross-pollination of styles. In order to keep up with the times, gharanas are adapting to international audiences, with musicians collaborating across cultural boundaries and introducing Indian classical music to global platforms. We've seen many of our artists do that, whether it's Ravi Shankar, whether it's Zakir Hussain. While the gharana system is gradually being eliminated as a form of contemporary learning, systematic efforts are being made to document gharana traditions through audiovisual recordings and scholarly research. There are organizations worldwide that are working very hard to preserve and promote gharana traditions through concerts, workshops, educational programs, etc. But the question remains, are gharanas relevant in today's times, and why not? Well, the rigid structure of traditional gharana training is being questioned as students seek more flexible learning approaches. The traditional guru-shishya relationship faces economic challenges as full-time residential training becomes increasingly difficult to sustain. So where does the future of the gharana system lie? The future of the gharanas lies in the ability to balance preservation with adaptation. While maintaining core principles and techniques, gharanas must evolve to remain relevant in contemporary contexts. They must start to use digital tools for learning while preserving the essence of guru-shishya tradition, parampara, and embrace cross-cultural collaborations while maintaining authentic Indian classical foundations. Despite challenges, the gharana system remains vital for several reasons. Sheer depth of knowledge. Gharanas provide unparalleled depth in understanding the intricate facets of raga and rhythm. They serve as living repositories of India's rich musical heritage. Gharanas continue to provide musicians with a sense of artistic identity and lineage. आज भी पूछते हैं कौन से घराना से सीखा है ना? I'm asked that all the time myself. In my view, the gharana system represents one of humanity's most sophisticated methods of preserving and transmitting artistic knowledge. Born from historical necessity during the decline of the Mughal Empire, these musical lineages have survived and thrived for over 3 centuries, adapting to changing circumstances while maintaining their essential character. So why can't they do it now? They will. From the ancient courts of Gwalior to the modern concert halls of Mumbai and beyond, gharanas continue to shape the landscape of Indian classical music. They have given us legendary musicians like Pandit Bhimsen Joshi, Ustad Zakir Hussain, and countless others who have carried forward their gharanas' legacies while adding their own creative contributions to them. Through their continued evolution and adaptation is the key here, the gharanas of India will undoubtedly continue to inspire, teach, and elevate both musicians and audiences for generations to come, ensuring that this magnificent tradition remains a living, breathing force in the world of music. That's all for today. Till next week, keep enjoying the music.
The music, stories with Sachindra, the beats, the melody.